So ng repeat directive repeats an HTML element. This directive instantiates a template once per item from a collection. So basically, so we can use this directive to display number of records from the database in the table format. Suppose in one organization, number of employees is there. Okay, so for example, so 1,000 employees is there. Okay, so but you don't know exact count. Okay, so assume that you don't know exact count. So but you want to display total employees information in the browser, okay, in the application. So with the employees information, okay, so total employees information you want to display. So in that scenarios, you don't know how many employees is there, how many records is there in the database. So but you want to display all the records from the database. Dynamically you want to display the total records from the database. So you don't need to uh, create the HTML table manually for like 1,000 records, 1,050 records, like that. So manually don't need to create the rows and columns for the employees information. So we can use this ng repeat directive to repeat the table, okay, to repeat the HTML elements. Okay, so this ng repeat directive takes each and one item from a collection. Okay, every time it will take one item from the collection and display the records in the table, okay, HTML table. So each template instance gets its own scope. So in AngularJS, every HTML element gets its own scope. So like to bind the value, okay, to bind the value from the database. So every HTML element gets its own scope. So where the given loop variable is set to the current collection item. So for example, so we can create one HTML form, ng repeat. So copy this library, and after that initialize application name using ng app directive, my app, and using ng controller. Okay, initialize the controller for the application. Okay, ng controller, my controller. So now, so I want to display, for example, 4 employees or 5 employees information in the table format. But don't need to define the rows and the columns for the 5 records, okay, manually. So it's dynamically generate the rows and columns. So how many records is there? Skip. So create the application variable, uh, application module for the application, app equal to angular dot module my app. So this empty brackets, square brackets, so we can use these empty brackets to define the third party modules. Okay, so I will explain this in next example. Okay, so how we can use third party modules into our application. So after creating the module for the application, use that module to uh, to implement the controller scope. Okay, this scope is used to uh, find the scope variables and the scope functions, okay, in the view. So next, create one variable scope dot emp info. Okay, so we are initializing multiple employees, right? Multiple employees information, so that first name, employee first name, like abc, last name, uh, email id abc@gmail.com, and phone number. Okay, this is one employee information. So uh, this one employee information is stored in flower brackets, right? Within the flower brackets, so we have separated the different values, okay, different properties, first name and last name. So these values are separated by comma, and for each and every employee we need to separate with the comma. First name test one. Okay, second employee information, last name, email id test1 at gmail, comma, phone number, okay. After complete the second employee also, comma, first name, test2, last name, comma, email id test2 at gmail, and phone number. So three employees information. So fourth employee test3, and last name, and email id test3 at gmail, comma, phone number. Okay, so this is the employee emp info variable. So this variable contains four employees information. So now I want to display this four employees information in table format. Okay, so we initialize this variable. So this is the scope variable. So within the view, take one table, HTML table, tr and td. So in the first row, so we can initialize employees column names like first name, last name, email ID, and phone number. First name, last name, email ID, next phone number. Okay, so after complete this initialization, first row, so initialize one row. Okay, initialize one row. So this is common for all the records, right? This here common for all the records. So from second row onwards, so actually we don't know how many records is there in the database. So but we need to create the total number of employees information records. Okay, we need to repeat this row for all the records. So now we can use ng repeat equal to emp in emp info. Okay, so this is alias name for this emp info scope variable. This variable is initialized in controller emp info, right? So this variable contains this four employees information. From this, so every time one record takes and display that record in table format. td use ng bind directive. Okay, ng bind directive emp dot fname. Next td ng bind equal to emp dot last name. ng bind equal to emp dot email id ng bind equal to emp dot phone number. Okay, these names should be same like okay what we initialized here. So this repeat directive repeats the row. Okay, so with according to the number of records is there in the controller emp info variable. Okay, so now run this example. Okay, so this employee information is displaying from the controller. Okay, assume that this is a database object. Okay, JSON object. Okay, so now we can add one button here. Input type equal to button and value equal to this display emp info. Okay, so when you click on the button, okay, the employee information will populate in the table format. Okay, for this we can use ng click. Ng click equal to get emp info is the function name. Okay, so when you click on this button, this function is executed in the controller. Scope dot get emp info equal to function. Okay, so after that this variable initialized and display that record in the table format. Okay, so click on this button. So employee information is displayed in table format. Okay, so 4 rows is created here. So actually we created only one row. Okay, so one row with appropriate columns. So go to inspect and you can see here, so only one row created. Okay, for the records 4 rows is generated. Okay, so AngularJS dynamically create the records, create the HTML elements. So each record with a separate scope. Okay, class equal to ng scope. So this is applied. Each record, each instance gets its own scope. So where the given loop variable set to the current collection item. And one more thing is we can add here index also. Okay, index numbers like serial numbers. td ng bind directive dollar symbol index plus 1. Okay, this is public object and added plus 1. So every time 1 is increased. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 4 records is there. So this is the ng repeat directive. And next one, so this is the most important concept, expressions. So this expressions also works like ng bind directive. Okay, so these expressions are written inside double braces. Okay, these expressions are also used to bind the data to the HTML elements. Okay, expressions binds data to HTML as same way as the ng bind directive. So okay, so in this example we use ng bind directive. Okay, to bind the data to the HTML element. HTML element is column. Okay, td. So this is HTML element. To bind the employee information to the HTML element, we use this ng bind directive. So, but in AngularJS, we have one important and one advanced feature is expressions. Okay, so we can use these expressions with the double braces, and these expressions are binds data to the HTML element in the same way as ng bind directive. Okay, AngularJS will output data exactly where the expression is written in the HTML document. So for example, expressions. So I want to display So sum of two numbers. Okay. So I want to display sum of two numbers. So when you click on the button, display sum of two numbers. Display sum. Okay, ng click directive and my function. So I want to display the result in paragraph. Okay. Uh, okay, result of two names. So this is the variable. Okay, the expression variable. So this variable is bind in the controller 20 plus 30. Okay, so when you click on the button, the 20 plus 30 result is stored in result of two names variable and bind the result in the expression. Okay, so now run this example. Okay, so 50 is displayed from the controller. Like if you want to display some text content in the paragraph. Okay, my text. Scope dot my text equal to this is my sample paragraph. Okay, this content also bind to this paragraph. Okay, so like this we can bind the data to the HTML elements using expressions. For suppose in this previous example, so comment this. Okay, and now we can use expressions. Okay, so now we can use expressions. So like this we can update. Okay, this expressions also binds the data like ng bind directly. Okay, so same example, run. So click on this button. Okay, So this is the result of ng expressions. Okay, so class is applied ng bind direct. Okay, ng bind class is applied. So this is CSS class. Okay, AngularJS internally binds CSS classes to the HTML elements. Okay, for scope, ng scope. For binding the data, ng binding class. So this is the expressions. So next one, ng init directive. So the ng init directive allows you to evaluate an expression in the current scope. So like if you want to initialize the default values, okay, like this example. So you want to initialize the values. So without controller, so we can use ng init directive to initialize the example values. Okay, uh, basic values to the variables. Okay, so initialize the variable and we can assign the values. So without controller. Use ng init so remove this and remove this one. Okay, so just only initialize ng app directive in the HTML tag. In the body section, use ng init directive. Okay, so here initialize names variable. So names variable contains two employees information. Okay, without controller, so we initialize these variables, first name and last name, and first name and last name. So we can display these two employees information in table format. Okay, when you click on the button. No, so actually we are not uh, implementing controller, right? So now you can comment this button, f name and last name, first name and last name, right? And so first name and last name we are using, and the serial number also using. So now run this example. Okay, two employees information is displaying. Okay, and so we have not uh, create the model for the application, and we are not implemented the controller also. So just initialize the variables. Okay, initialize the variable names variable, and this names variable contains two employees information. So when you run the form, so you automatically display the result in the table format. So now, so we can use controller to initialize the values. Okay, so now we can use this. Okay, so initialize the application module name and the controller also. and the controller. So when you click on the button, this function is executed and initialize the variable. Okay, so without click on the button, you can initialize the values. So this is the function. Call this here. Okay, in ng init directive. So call this function. Okay, same example. So with the ng init directive. Okay, these employees are initialized. Okay, using ng init directive. So this function is executed here in the controller. So this function is created the my emp info variable, scope variable, and initialize the values into that variable, and this variable is data is displayed in table format. Okay, so when you run the form, so ng init directive directly goes to this controller and executed this function, and after that display the result in table format. So next one, so this ng root directive, so I will explain this ng root directive in tomorrow's session, so because it will take some time to explain, and today we can continue with the next directive. So ng style directive, so ng style directive allows you to set CSS style on the HTML elements. So ng style nothing but a style attribute in HTML. Okay, so but in AngularJS, so we can add CSS properties from the database also. Okay, based on the condition we can display the CSS properties. Okay, so we can use ng style directive to apply CSS properties, okay, dynamically. mm, ng style. ng app equal to my app, ng controller equal to my controller. So here you can take one text box, type equal to text box or button, anything you can take, and use ng style directive. Okay, ng style directive to apply CSS properties to the HTML elements, so dynamically from the controller. app.controller, scope, scope dot my style is the variable equal to so we can take background color. So background color is uh, so we can use color codes here. So this is the color code for red. So we can comment this. My BG style, okay, background style. Next, scope dot my text style, hash triple F. Text color is white. So now we can use uh, so syntax is little bit difficult. Background color, okay, background color. My BG style is the variable. Okay, my BG style is the variable here. So this variable bind this color code and upload here. And next, comma, color, my text color. Okay, so background color and text color. So run this example. So text box background color is red applied and the text color is white. So when you type the text here, text style, right? Okay, so text color also applied here for the text box. So based on the ng style directive, so it is applied. So bind this color code from the controller. Go to inspect. You can see here ng style is there, but style attribute also is there. Okay, AngularJS internally style attribute is added to the HTML elements. So when you are using ng style directive, okay. So this ng style directive apply the CSS properties, okay. So with the help of style attribute. So normally we can apply CSS properties for this text box. like any color code. Okay, background color. Okay, background color. So close this with a single quotes or double quotes, and the text color is white. Okay, two text boxes. So first text box background color blue and the text color is white. Second text box background color red, text color is white. So here, so we applied directly CSS properties, so without controller. So in this for this second text box, we use this variables to bind the CSS values to these variables. Okay, this is the mg style directive. Okay, observe this syntax: single quotes. Okay, close with the single quotes and a colon. Here expression to bind the variable. So this is the variable, and my bg style is the variable. So this is the scope variable. So to bind this variable, we use the expression. Okay, so within the expression we use single quotes. Next one is ng show directive and ng hide directive. So this is like hide and show methods in jQuery. Okay, so once you remember jQuery hide and show methods. So when you click on the hide button, the HTML elements will hide. When you click on the show button, hidden elements are shown. Okay, that is the concept. So same concept here by using ng show and ng hide directives. So ng show directive shows or hides a given HTML elements based on the expression provided to the ng show attribute. So basically, these directives, ng show and ng hide directives, takes values, boolean values, like true or false only. So take the values like true or false. So only boolean values it will accept. So for example, so create one HTML form, ng um, show and hide. Okay. So now you can take one button here, type equal to button and value equal to hide and ng click equal to function hide and one more button show. So my function and the next function is ng show. Okay, function hide and function show. So when you click on the hide button, so take one paragraph. So this paragraph contains some content. Okay, take this content. Okay, this paragraph contains this information. So use ng show direct equal to my flag is the scope variable. Okay, so basically first time my flag is true. Okay, so paragraph ng show equal to true. So paragraph will display. So when you click on the hide button, scope dot my flag equal to false. Okay, so again when you click on the show button, my flag equal to true. So now run this example. So first paragraph is displaying first time. So when you click on the hide button, paragraph is hidden. Okay, so paragraph is there, but ng show directive is applied. Uh, class equal to ng hide class is applied. Ng hide class contains display none CSS property. Okay, you can find this ng hide class. Okay, CSS class is applied. So when you click on the show button, so again paragraph is displaying. Okay, so now class is removed here. So when you click on hide, class is applied. ng hide. When you click on show, class is removed. Okay, this is the concept of hide and show. Okay, ng hide also we can use. Instead of ng show, we can use ng hide. So first time my flag is true, so that ng hide equal to true. Paragraph is hide true. First time paragraph is not displaying. So when you click on show button, so when you click on the show button, so my flag false. Okay, paragraph is displaying hide show. Okay, so ng show and ng hide. ng side first time data display paragraph content is displaying when you set the my flag true, and when you set the my flag true for ng hide, paragraph is not displaying. This is both are opposite. Okay, ng show and ng hide both are opposite but same functionality. Next, ng href directive. ng href directives are used to dynamically bind the URL from the database, okay, to the HTML elements. So we can use here one link. Okay, and so basically we can use href attribute to give the path, okay, to give the URL. So, but in AngularJS we can use ng href directive. My link is the variable, okay, so we can bind this variable in the controller. Scope dot my link equal to http colon www dot google.com. Okay, so when you click on this link, it will display in new tab, okay, target blank, and we can bind the text also, okay, link text, scope dot link text equal to click to go to Google website. Okay, so this text is bind to here and this link is bind to here. Okay, so when you click on this link, you can use flower brackets to bind the link. Okay, so Google website is opened here. So this is the ng href directive. Okay, dynamically we can bind the URLs to the HTML elements using ng href directive, and ng href directive binds the links, okay, bind the URLs with the help of href attribute in the HTML. Okay, ng href directive is there, so link is binded, and href attribute also is there. Okay, so ng href directive bind the link to the anchor tag with the help of href attribute only. Okay, internally AngularJS internally bind this attribute. Okay,